kind of talking about master distillers, some blenders, some key faces of a lot of these organizations and how they're leaving to go and do other things. And you had mentioned Jackie. There's other people that come to mind. Jacob Call, which is a most recent one from Green River that left after the Pritzker acquisition. You had Jeff Arnett that actually left Jack Daniels. So I think we'll be able to talk about, I guess maybe that's where we start off is why should people leave? Why do they leave? And is it a difference in sort of like heritage, legacy, distilling, where maybe it was like our grandparents where they all worked at the same job for their entire lives and that's just sort of what people did? Or is it just a new age of working and that's what people do? People bounce around between jobs and that's just the nature of what it is and they're going to go and just follow the money.
Well, Kenny, when you look at the role of master distiller, that's essentially a brand, a company making a person a face of their product. That's who's pouring at the Whiskey Fest. That's who all the consumers and journalists want to talk to about the whiskey. But they don't own the brand. And oftentimes they don't get royalties for their own name being used on the bottle. And so there's as whiskey has grown, there has been this increased belief by some of the people inside the distilleries that money is not getting passed down to the right people. There was a very prominent master distiller 5 years ago was making $75,000, and that person was everywhere all the time. And then there's another company that their master distiller, they really value them monetarily. That person was making $400,000, $500,000. So you have, there's a little bit of play of like respect. There's money. But really, this has been going on for a long time. In the 1800s, one of the greatest master distillers was a guy named Cyrus Noble, and he left Bernheim to go off and do his own consulting and stuff. In a more contemporary sense, Dave Pickerel left Maker's Mark, which really kind of unheard of at that point, and he started, consulting. And so I think a lot of it is people get the entrepreneurial itch. Some of it's respect, some of it's money. But at the end of the day, it's talent. And if a company cannot retain a talent or keep somebody happy, they're going bye-bye.
I think that the talent thing even is a little misnomer even nowadays, only because, yes, you get to the master distiller position because of talent, but then all of a sudden people are being sent on the road to go and do tastings all the time. They're not necessarily the ones turning the dials or doing anything. They have the whole distillation team that's sort of taking care of that. That might be another discussion.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, but they've chosen to make that person the face. And whether or not they are actually programming in the automation for the dump of barrels, or if they are programming the fermentation tanks or whatever, or they're turning the dials, which Connor O'Driscoll's doing, Harlan Wheatley's doing, Greg Davis is doing, so Denny Potter's doing that. So there are master distillers who are the face and are turning the dials and command like the distilling teams. But, the term master distiller has been so overblown that, tomorrow we could both start a brand, call ourselves master distillers, and it would be accepted. But anyway, that's another topic.
Yeah, I have a question for you guys, just based off of what Fred said. Do you think master distiller, that title has been diluted over time just because of what you said, Fred?
Absolutely.
Is it not as in... I mean, it's important.
Our eyes,
yeah,
maybe in our eyes, but the general public, I still think they see him as this, aura around him and whatnot. I think once you get so deep into the, when you really understand how the industry works, there's a ton of people behind it actually making the whiskey, therefore, whereas somebody who's going and meeting about a brand and learning about the master distiller, they see this person as like, oh, you're like, so I think it's been devalued in, say, the whiskey geek community, but maybe not so much in the general population, which that's what, that's realistically what these companies are going for.
Yeah, and I think it's a huge difference when you have a master distiller that's not only doing the work behind the scenes, but as Fred put it, is also the face of the company, the face of the brand. Because, in some minds, you just never think that they would leave. You mention Dave Pickerel, Jeff Arnett left Jack Daniels, and that's never happened. Nobody leaves Jack Daniels.
No. Not only did he leave Jack Daniels, he left and partnered with a Berkshire Hathaway executive to start a distillery that is meant to specifically compete against the likes of Brown-Forman. So he didn't just leave; he left and took a baseball bat with him. So, I think that right now people are feeling the itch. And if you have it in your soul and you are an entrepreneur, you want to take that chance, you want to start a brand. I mean, look at Kenny and Ryan. They started with a podcast and now have leveraged that into a brand, a successful brand in Pursuit United. To me, there are just some people who have the itch and want to start a brand. They want something different. And there are people who are complacent and content and love that 401k. So I think everybody, it's going to be a case-by-case thing. But we've seen it now with 3 people, and if you want to go back to Peggy No Stevens, 4 people with Brown-Forman. Jeff Arnett leaving Jack Daniels, Marianne Eves, formerly Barnes, leaving Woodford Reserve, Jackie Zykin leaving Old Forester, and of course Peggy was their first master taster back in the early 2000s, leaving there. So I think if you look at it from like a larger company perspective, a lot of this conversation is around Brown-Forman.